Hello. Okay, 86 million and then some announced in VC funding this week. But before we get to that, a few other things I just wanted to talk to you about. First and foremost, happy 404 day to all of you who celebrate. It's 404 day, and 404 holds a special place in my heart because the pie stuff I can talk about later. I don't need to talk about here. Just got back. It's Thursday night. I record on Thursdays. Just got back from an amazing event in Vancouver, Washington. Just a lot of really passionate people in the room discussing the potential for the Vancouver, Washington startup community and some efforts they were taking and more information. Remember I teased that incubator a few weeks ago? But I'll talk a little bit more about that. So 86 million, 404 day, Vancouver, Washington incubator for startups. Okay. The big news is Hydrolix. $80 million. Okay, I will get to that. Just give me one sec. I just wanted to thank folks last week. I was like, yeah, if you have opinions, please comment. And a lot of people did, and I was really appreciative of it. Like some people were critical, some people were positive and helpful. But you know, if you want to keep that kind of thing up, I like it. I think it's valuable. I think it's helpful to me. I think it makes the show better. So please, if you have feedback, please comment. Yalda, I'm looking at you. All right, let's get to this Hydrolix news. They raised $80 million, Series C, I believe. And how can you raise 80 million in this environment? Well, you know, they had 8 times their revenue improvement year over year. So that had a little bit to help them. The other thing is they've come up with this concept of a streaming data lake. So a data lake is this like repository for data that's cost effective to put all the data and stuff in there, but it may be difficult to access efficiently. And then there's like the fire hose of data, which is a lot to deal with and takes significant computational power to deal with that data coming through. And so Hydrolix, Portland startup, started by Marty Kagan, who had a successful exit with Sodexis, which was sold to Citrix, I think in 2018-ish, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, Marty, serial founder, knows what he's doing, has this idea. With the, what if we took the data lake, but also made it accessible like the fire hose or like this stream of information? And what if we created a streaming data lake? Which, as an English major, that analogy is thoroughly confusing to me. It's either a stream or it's a lake. Maybe it's the part of the lake where the stream comes out of the lake. You know, the water gets into the lake, and then if it's not the Great Salt Lake, the stream comes out the other side. Maybe that's the concept. Maybe that's what I need to get my head around. Anyway, they built a product that allows you to deal with petabytes, quintilla flupa bytes of data and transform it and transmogrify it and deal with it efficiently. And of course, in a day and age where we're generating so much data, AI is capable of consuming so much data. Like, the timing on this is just double chef's kiss. So Hydrolix has managed to raise $80 million in their Series C. They're going to be doing a bunch of hiring in Portland, maybe doubling the size of their team. This is really exciting because one of the things I've been concerned about is I don't have a lot of like marquee household name players whom I can point to and say, oh, that's a Portland startup. You've heard of that company. And Hydrolix seems to be stepping up to fit that bill. So I'm excited to watch what they do next. So keep an eye on Hydrolix. And when people ask you, give me an example of a Portland startup, hopefully Hydrolix is the first one you mention. Okay, and one last one, it's even trailing. It's a little late, but if you were online anywhere in the world over the last week, when OpenAI released their new image generation and everybody thought they deserved to be in a Studio Ghibli film. Like, there were a lot of Studio Ghibli-esque elements floating around. Just reminded me to remind you that our friends at Widening Kennedy did this fantastic series of ads for Travel Oregon that were Studio Ghibli inspired, that were only slightly exaggerated perspectives on Oregon. I'll link those up. At this point in time, we're getting some momentum going here. I want you to remember what you love about Portland, what you love about Oregon, and that work by WK for Travel Oregon is one of those things I can return to again and again and again. That really just brings a smile to my face and kind of it takes on that Studio Ghibli theme as well, but by folks who had to build that stuff, not AI, but folks who had to make that happen. So take a few minutes, rewatch those videos, and remember what you appreciate about being in Oregon. Another company that added to the money announced this week is a company called Sturdy. They raised $6 million. Voyager, our friends at Voyager Capital, led the round. Diane Freeman, who is a longtime mentor to me and a really just trusted advisor and a huge proponent for Portland and helped build the community and all these things. I can't say enough nice things about Diane. Sturdy is very lucky to have Diane on their board now. They're also lucky to have $6 million more to work with that Voyager contributed to. Sturdy, what do they do? Why'd they raise this money? They're really taking all of this customer feedback and aggregating it and munging it with AI to really help give companies a better understanding of how customers are feeling, what they need, what their problems are, what the feedback is, all those kind of things. So that's a very high level of what they're doing, but clearly they're doing something interesting and enough to incur this kind of funding. Some people in Portland, they want to build an office in Portland. That was another exciting one. So you have Hydrolix being like, we're here, but we're going to double. You have Sturdy that's saying, look, we have a founder in Boise and one, I think, Montana or somewhere, and some folks and a founder, at least a C-level in Portland, and other folks here. And they're like, look, we're going to put down a stake here in Portland. We're going to build a Portland startup. That's the kind of stuff I love to see. So I am eagerly watching Sturdy, eager to see what they do. And again, this week, you've now gained 2 startups where when people are like, I don't know, what startups are built in Portland? Well, you're like, first of all, there's Hydrolix. And then you're like, second, there's Sturdy. And so those are just really good examples of new startups being built here that are generating interest and being able to land capital to help them continue that growth. I'm feeling some really interesting momentum. I keep saying to people, it feels like it's 2005, but with this kind of activity, we're creeping a little closer to like 2007, 2008, really quickly. So Sturdy, Hydrolix, $86 million. Who else raised funding this week? Well, I'm glad you asked, because there's Prophetic, which was founded by Oliver Alexander, serial founder. He had Orchid Health. Just prior to the pandemic, he did a co-working space called Remotely. And his new thing, Prophetic, is really taking AI and putting it to work for real estate in a number of different ways, from development to understanding code to this and that and the other thing. Just a really interesting kind of rolling up all the different aspects of the business of real estate into kind of a centralized platform, and then using AI to help make it more efficient, more understandable, really interesting. They raised a seed round, and it was not disclosed how much that round was. I did some poking around on the, because you have to file with the SEC and that kind of thing. I did some poking around. I think I might know how much the round was, but I can't definitively say what the round was, so I'm not going to say it. Just know that they too were part of this amazing week of 3 companies announcing significant funding for their pursuits, that people really validated with financial support the ideas that they're working on. And that's always a good sign for Portland. So congratulations to all those companies. I know fundraising is hard. I know that once you have the funds, building the next iteration of the business is even more difficult, but I know you're all up to it. And I know Portland's behind you. So congratulations and wishing you the best of luck. Looking forward to see where all of you go from here. You know what helps people raise money? Their ability to not have bad segues during the podcast. Their ability to tell stories. And, learning to tell stories, learning to pitch, learning to present to an audience, that is a skill that needs to be trained and honed like any other. And at that point in time where you're needing that sort of help, you really need kind of a speaker coach. And if you're a person who's in that position, who's looking to take it to the next level, I came across something this week that I find super interesting and compelling. It's from Kathy Armias and Mark Williams. Kathy, longtime TEDxPortland speaker coach. Mark Williams, celebrated speaker and also, speaker coach. They're putting together a 3-day workshop surrounding TEDxPortland, which is coming up. You've heard of TEDxPortland, right? It was for a time, I don't know if it still is, but for a time, TEDxPortland was it was in the top 3 most popular TEDx events around the globe. It was one of the most popular TEDx events. I would assume it's still up there. There have been any number of amazing speakers. There are amazing speakers this year that if you take advantage of this workshop with Kathy and Mark, you will get the opportunity to not only hone your speaking skills, get to work with a cohort, get some TEDx experience, and then, just the camaraderie of a number of people trying to go through the effort of improving their speaking skills. I'm really excited about it. I was really excited when I heard about it. I could use speaker coaching pretty much every single, you watch the podcast, you don't believe me? Go watch my TEDx talk and you will know even further. But really happy that Kathy and Mark were like, I understand that not everybody may be able to access this price point. It's $795, I think. And you may have to pay for your TEDx ticket as well. I wasn't really clear on that for our workshop. And so they've provided a scholarship as well. So if that is preventing you from joining this cohort and learning these speaker skills, they offer a scholarship option where you can, submit your details and they may just grant you the opportunity to participate in this cohort. So if it's of interest to you, first of all, if you can afford the price of the workshop, please take advantage of this. These are amazing speaker coaches. Seems like an amazing experience. TEDx is always kind of like a whole thing that's exciting. So if you can afford it, please take the opportunity to participate. If that price point is creating a barrier for you, please consider applying for the scholarship and taking advantage of these amazing coaches. I can't wait to see who comes out of this. Can't wait to see them speak in the future. And thanks again to Kathy and Mark for providing the opportunity for more people to have access to their amazing teachings, trainings, and workshops. Okay, this one's a ways out, but it'll be here before you know it. It's June 11th through the 13th. It's the AI in the West conference, which is a conference being held in Bend, Oregon, focused on, as the name would indicate, AI. So they haven't opened up tickets yet. You can sign up for the wait list, get more information. But I just wanted to highlight it to you quickly because this has the makings, has the feelings of a destination event. I think they're going to have the capability of pulling in a lot of interesting speakers. I've been talking to people in Bend about AI for years, people who are really, really early to it, people like Wiseox who brought product to market really early during the AI thing. So it would not surprise me to see this be a who's who of AI folks. And plus, you get to go to Bend. I mean, who doesn't like the opportunity to go to a resort town and do a conference and all those kind of things? I mean, that's why people, that's why all the big execs show up to Sun Valley and do that thing and stuff. Anyway, I don't have a lot of details on it. I will link it up so that you can at least go sign up for future alerts or those kind of things. But I'm thinking that June in Bend is going to be an amazing AI conference. And I just wanted to give you a heads up in case that was in your realm of interest so that you could get in early, because there's going to be early bird prices and then kind of early bird. And then, of course, the full-fledged pricing. And I want you to get the best price possible to attend AI in the West in Bend, Oregon, come June. AI in the West is a big event that's happening over a couple days. Coming up in May, Portland has a startup-focused event that occurs throughout an entire week. What is that? Well, it's the aptly named Portland Startup Week, which is organized by Josh Carter. And it's really just this amalgamation of all kinds of events that happen focused on startups. These could be events that happen on a regular basis. Like, for example, I'm programming an event during that week because I was programming an event that week anyway, but it's really nice to be able to collaborate with Portland Startup Week to feature that event. Or it could be a thing where you're like, I have an idea for startups. I want to test drive an event. Portland Startup Week is the best time to test that, to see if the audience is there, to see if the people are interested in what you want to pursue. I've heard about other events. I think New Tech PDX is coming back then, which was a big event. There'll be opening parties, closing parties, Demolicious probably. Yes, there's a Demolicious. There'll be pie events, all these other events, but there are 24 hours in a day. And in a startup week, that would be 168 hours in a week that you can do an event during any of those 168 hours. So if you have an idea, or if you have an existing event that occurs during the week of May 11th through the 18th, I think. I should have the dates. I apologize. I was ill prepared. I was at that Vancouver thing. I wrote my script, but I didn't get everything in there. So I'm sorry. But it happens in May. I think the pie event is May 13th. So May 13th is the second Tuesday. I believe it's like the 12th, 11th, 12th through 18th, 19th. Anyway, it's that week. It's that week in May. it's that second full week in May. Portland Startup Week. You can follow it on Luma. Maybe you're like, I don't want to program anything. I just want to go to as many possible events as I can. You can do that too. Some are free. Some cost money. Some are huge gatherings. Some are intimate gatherings. All kinds of things. So I used to run Portland Startup Week way back in the day, like decades ago, or at least a decade ago. And it was really this opportunity to celebrate all of the amazing things that were happening in our startup community and celebrate the people who were doing amazing things in our startup community. Josh has taken it over. This promises to be no different. It just is like, don't overthink it. If there's something you want to do, if it has to do with startups in Portland, if it has to do with founders, consider reaching out to Josh to get your event on the schedule for Portland Startup Week, or consider creating a new event from scratch. We can always use new stuff, like always need new events and new formats and new things. So if you're inspired, if you're feeling creative, figure out something for Portland Startup Week and submit it so that we can have a full calendar of activities and things and people and networking and startups and stuff to really just capture this momentum that's starting to build in Portland. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm really liking the fact that we're starting to see more stuff happen and more companies being built. That's always exciting to me, but the events are important too, because that connects the community together, because our community is only as strong as its weakest bond, and events are the way that we strengthen those bonds among other members of the community. So if you have an idea, please submit it for Portland Startup Week. Okay, I mentioned Pi is doing an event during Portland Startup Week. We have an event next week too. Unfortunately, it's sold out. I had hoped to get a venue that would allow us to bring in a ton of people, and I think I have that for July. Quite honest, like we're behind the scenes, we're working, we're wheeling, dealing. I think I have a venue for July that will allow us to support the level of interest that we're seeing. So the first one, we can only get like 400, 500 people in. This one, get like, there are like 600 RSVPs and a bunch of people on the wait list. They keep growing, but we can get like 500-ish people in there, and it's in the EcoTrust building, and there's like a patio and hallways and stuff. So I'm hoping we can get folks in there. But I would like to do something without a significant wait list. I would like to do something that allows 1,000 people in the community. And that's what we're planning for July, but we don't want to discount, of course, the event happening next week, which will be amazing. The usual group of partners who are all kind enough to collaborate with us. I'm going to try and name them all off, but like it's Better Portland, it's Built, it's Pi, it's Latino Founders, it's Metro Region Innovation Hub, OEN, TIE, AI Portland, Rose City Techies, North Bank Innovation, just like people across the region. Did I say TIE? I hope I said TIE. I hope I said OEN, who all come together to just like promote this and get the community together. And it's really nice to collaborate with all of them. I'm always like pleasantly surprised as the RSVPs start rolling in and we realize how many people are interested in getting together for this kind of event. I'm always sorry that we have to like shut down RSVPs and move to waitlist, but I'm hoping we can fix that in July. But please, if you RSVP'd for the April 8th event, please show up or please change your RSVP so that the people on the waitlist can get in. I want to make sure everybody has a chance to engage with this amazing community, and no fault, like no judgment, no fault. Like sometimes things happen, you sign up, you think you'll be able to make it, and then suddenly you can't. Please just change your RSVP so that other folks have the opportunity to engage with the community. The other secret of this one is a local startup called Deo, which, without revealing a ton, Deo is a app designed to help you reduce your doom scrolling and your social media usage and that kind of thing. They're officially launching next week. They're having a launch party on Friday, April 11th. You should go to that too. I will link that up. But Deo, because it's so rare for us to have a consumer-facing app, Deo will also be on the premises with a table to like help you download the app and help you understand what they built and why they built it. It's really interesting. It's like, don't use social media as much and you get rewards and you get to buy cool stuff. So it's like, don't give the oligarchs your money and your capital and your attention, and you get to be a consumer. Like, you get to buy things that you want because you get the benefit of not giving your money and attention to somebody else. So really interesting premise there. Reminds me a lot of BeMinder from back in the day, the Portland Seed Fund company that now I'm going to need to find a link to BeMinder. But anyway, all that being said, if you were able to get on the RSVP list, or if you somehow come off the wait list, I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, April 8th. Should be a good event. Completely non-alcoholic NA event this time around. We've got some vendors there. I know PDX Water will be there. I know we'll have some other vendors there. Family friendly. If you're like, I would really like to go, but I'm taking care of my kid, or like, I need to like go to a kid sporting event and then show up after. Bring your kid. Family friendly. All pie events are family friendly unless otherwise noted, because your kids are part of our community too. So it's always open to that kind of thing. Looking forward to it. You know me, I start stressing out right now where I'm like, ooh, so many people RSVP'd. It's going to be like 5 people in the room standing there staring at their toes, not wanting to talk to one another. But I hope, otherwise, I hope a few of you show up. So if you RSVP'd, please show up. Come hang out. Please get to meet other people in your community. April 8th, 5 o'clock. It'll run till about 8 or so. Look forward to seeing you there. Okay, finally, the thing I promised at the beginning. I'm sorry that I had already written my script and had it all figured out in my head, and I'd practiced a little-ish, and then I went to this event in Vancouver, and I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I need to share this with folks because they need to know about it immediately. And I went up to the organizer, went up to Dave Barkos, and I'm like, is this public? Can I talk about this? Because I don't want to be talking out of school if you're not ready for this to be more public. And he's like, no, go ahead, talk about it. So, Vancouver, Washington, which if you're not familiar with the geography of Portland, if for some reason you're watching this from somewhere else, I don't know why you are, but thank you. If you're watching this from somewhere else, there's Portland, which sits on the kind of like northern border of Oregon at the Columbia River. And then there's Vancouver, which sits at the southern border of Washington on the Columbia River. And we're just a bridge away from one another. So very close communities, lots of back and forth and collaboration and that kind of thing. But also, you know how it is. Like if you live near a metropolitan area, there are times where you're like, why can't I have the resources here? I don't want to have to drive across the bridge. I don't have to engage with a whole new community. Why can't my community have the resources I need? That's what we were talking about tonight. Well, last night, if you're watching this on Friday, or on Thursday, if you're watching it at some other piece, at some other portion of the week. The event saw a nice cross-section of Portland people, Vancouver people, new people, old people, not old people, people who've been here a while. I mean, I was there, so there were old people there. But lots of people intermingling, hanging out, and then a great just like description, presentation, information session on the incubator that they're planning to build in Vancouver to support startup activity. And planning to build isn't really even the right way to put it. They are going to build a startup incubator in Vancouver to support that region and the startups being built there. They're lining up financing. They're getting stuff dialed. They're just like, they're really motivated to make this happen. And there are a lot of really like passionate people who want to help make this happen. So if you're in the Vancouver area and this is of interest to you, or you're in Portland and you want to help support what's going on there, or you're in somewhere else in Washington and this is of interest to you, please reach out to Dave Barkos, who is leading this effort and really bringing the community together to form a new incubator in Vancouver, promising to engage startups and mentors and investors and the people and the things and stuff required to build a really interesting and compelling startup community in Vancouver, Washington, which would be a great complement to the activity I've seen over the past 30 years here in Portland. I'm fully behind it. I'm going to keep promoting it and keep letting you know about what's going on there. So if that's of interest to you, I hope you engage as quickly as you can. Wow, I tried to get through that as quickly as possible. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're holding up. I hope to see you on April 8th if you got on the list. And until we get the chance to chat again, please keep up the good work.